The last day of no football before we have Week 18 of the 2021 regular season. The first ever Week 18, might I add, as the NFL has approved an extra game. The division games for the end of the season will be happening tomorrow night between the Cowboys and the Eagles. And before that, you've got the Denver Broncos hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Time2Football. My name is Hassan Khan, the host of the show that we like to call Time2Football. Glad you guys are able to join us for this wonderful Friday morning, January 7th, 2022. Hope you guys are wrapping up at work. Hope you guys have some days off at work as well. I know some people don't work on Fridays, but whatever your work schedule is, I hope you guys are able to get away from work, tune in on your phone real quick, and hang out with us for the next 30 to 45 minutes or so as we talk about football. Very appreciative of you guys joining us in the live chat. Hey, on today's show, it's Friday. It's Fantasy Friday. Now, hold on. What does that mean? Hassan, fantasy football is over, right? How can we be talking about fantasy football? Well, thanks to our buddies, our sponsors over at PredictionStrike and PrizePicks, Fridays are just dealing with those guys. Now, I don't want to say dealing in a wrong way. I'm saying like we talk about them every Friday, and I have lots of fun talking about them. And you guys have joined in on the fun as well, have signed up for PredictionStrike and PrizePicks as well. We're going to be giving you details on that if you guys aren't already signed up. But pretty much, to give a basis of it, PredictionStrike, the stock market for football. You just invest in players, buy shares of players that you think are going to be taking off in the near future or in the distant future, whether it be the next year, 2, 3 years. You make a lot of money on those long-term investments, which I'll be helping you guys out with, as well as PrizePicks. Hey, it's just a weekly, daily fantasy game where you just pick the overs and unders of fantasy football predictions, stat line predictions, and you win some cash doing that. And we're going to be giving you guys our info and our analysis on those PrizePicks projections so you can win some serious cash, which, if you followed our predictions last week, you actually want some money, which we'll be talking about here in just a bit. But NFL news and notes that we want to get into for today's show. Okay. Antonio Brown has officially been released. We've been keeping up with this Antonio Brown situation for the last few days. And finally, they have come to a conclusion. Antonio Brown has been released of his contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He is now going on waivers to be claimed by someone now, given that it's the end of the regular season. There's a lot of teams that are on the top of the waiver list that are like, it's not worth signing him. So he's going to keep on going down and down and down the waiver list until you have a contender that's in contention of signing Antonio Brown. I think, this is my just opinion, I believe that he's going to clear waivers. I don't think that any team's going to take the risk on him yet. They're going to bring him in, talk to his agent if they want to, a wide receiver. I know that the Dallas Cowboys are on the market after Michael Gallup suffered a torn ACL and is out for the remainder of the season. But some contenders could be in line of signing Antonio Brown. I don't know if it's going to be happening or not. I think a lot of people are saying, oh, his NFL career is done just because of the way that he handled the whole situation of running off the field. He didn't run off the field. He cartwheeled off the field. Jumping jacks off the field. Hassan, what's the difference between a cartwheel and a jumping jack? I don't know. But, yeah, crazy stuff. If you guys want to hear Antonio Brown being released or the thoughts of Antonio Brown being released, per Bruce Arians, he actually came out and he gave his insight on all of this. So let me go ahead and just play this. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds. Let me play this video, and then I'm going to get back to you guys here real quick.
Obviously, we let Antonio go today. Just to clear you up on some things that happened. At no point in time during that game did he ever ask the trainer or doctor about his ankle. He never went through. That's the normal protocol. You go through protocols during games. I was never notified of it. So obviously that was the disturbing thing when we were looking for him to go back into the game. Yeah. All right. We always had he was very upset at halftime about who was getting targeted. Got that calmed down. Players took care of that. It started again on the sideline. We called for the personnel group that he had played in the entire game. He refused to go in the game. That's when I looked back and saw him basically wave off the coach. I I then went back, approached him about what was going on. I ain't playing. What's going on? I ain't getting the ball. That's when I said, "You're done. Get the F out of here." And that's the end of it. And we are working on Carolina. That's the end of the story. And hopefully it ends today.
All right. And then if you guys want to see an ad for Athletic Greens.
It's time for a new routine.
No, we're not doing that. Man, love and hate YouTube ads. Love them because they pay me, but hate them because can't escape from them. You know what's the worst? The worst thing, the 100% worst thing in the world. I would say it's probably like top 7, with like number 1 being splashback. If you don't know what splashback is, look that up on your own accord. That being the number 1 thing. And there's like a list of like maybe other things like a shopping cart with one bad wheel. But probably number 6 or 7 on the list of the worst things in this world are YouTube ads when they show 2 of them and they're both 30 seconds long and you cannot skip either one of them. I've only had that happen to me maybe twice. Don't like it. Don't like it. Hey, YouTube, what's up with that? What's up with that? But Antonio Brown, yeah, that situation's getting crazy and crazier because actually you guys may not have heard about this because the NFL will not promote this. They will not promote it on NFL.com. But some more news with Antonio Brown. I'm not trying to start drama or anything. I'm not saying like what's right or wrong. You know, if you know, some people want to smash, some people want to smash. Sure. But it was prior to a game. Antonio Brown, according to an OnlyFans model, she was hit up by Antonio Brown. They met like a couple years ago. I don't know, whatever. And he was in New York. He was like, "Hey, come on over." There's text messages out there saying, or she released these text messages with, which number 1, she's a snitch. I mean, there's no way to go around it. But she came out and released these text messages saying that Antonio Brown wanted her to come to the team hotel, came to the team hotel, did the dirty, the hibbity-dibbity. And then after that, you know, or during that, actually, Antonio Brown was saying, like, watch what I do tomorrow. Watch what I do tomorrow. This is the night before the game. So, like, did he have it pre-planned that he was going to run off the field? And, yeah, so, you know, you could choose to believe whoever you want to believe. Either it be Bruce Arians, either it be Antonio Brown, either it be this OnlyFans girl who got famous because she licked a toilet seat during the COVID-19 pandemic. Choose whoever you want to believe. But Antonio Brown allegedly said, watch what I do tomorrow, to this woman that he was having an encounter with. Yeah, crazy stuff. Leave your thoughts in your comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. I think a lot of you guys are tuning in right now. Rubio saying someone will pick up AB. Jerry Jones would if they need a receiver. Yeah, can you imagine Jerry Jones picking up Antonio Brown, and if the Super Bowl potentially gets moved from California to the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, which they've talked about because of the COVID-19 restrictions over in Cali, Antonio Brown playing in Dallas Cowboys, playing in the Super Bowl in that home stadium. I mean, that would be crazy to see. Sean Landry saying, good morning. Between yesterday and today, this has been the he said, she said between AB and the Bucs. Yeah, it really has. I mean, at this point, if you don't have enough evidence, you just got to move on. Like, what are the facts? The facts are that Antonio Brown has been released. For whatever reason, Antonio Brown has been released. He is now on waivers and could be a free agent. Cole asking, is Derrick Henry playing this weekend or starting in the playoffs? We're going to get into injury news actually here in just a bit. I have not heard anything about Derrick Henry as far as I think he's inactive during practice. I don't think he's practicing. I think what I've heard from Mike Vrabel is that they are activating him with the intention of not playing him in Week 18, but they are hopefully going to be playing him in the playoffs. So you're saying, just asking from a concerned Bills fan. I mean, it's in your favor that the Tennessee Titans will not be playing or playing Derrick Henry against the Houston Texans. But I mean, for the Bills it would take a lot for Tennessee to lose to the Texans. Like, I mean, that's number one. Like, that's got to happen for the Bills to continue to move on up in the playoff seeding picture. But yeah, let's get back to NFL news and notes, and I promise I'll get back to you guys in the chat in just a bit. Actually, as a matter of fact, you've got the NFL news and notes, the Prediction Strike segment. We're going to be talking about PrizePicks as well, and then fan questions. We're going to be answering those towards the end of the show. NFL News and Notes. Teddy Bridgewater states that he will not retire after this season. I don't think that there was any like huge concerning news that he was going to, except the fact that maybe a member has announced or told him that or asked him, "Are you going to retire after another injury? Like you've suffered injury after injury after injury. You had one career-threatening injury when you were with the Minnesota Vikings. Is this it?" Teddy Bridgewater says, "No, not it. I intend to keep on playing, whether that be with the Denver Broncos or whether that be with someone else. Teddy Bridgewater wants to keep playing." Some inactives for tomorrow's games. You've got Miles Sanders that's going to be out for the Philadelphia Eagles with the broken hand, fractured hand, something wrong with his hand. He's going to be out. He's going to miss his second straight game against the Dallas Cowboys. They already locked up their playoff spot. At best, they can clinch the number 6 seed, which would be better because maybe you could play a worser team. Like right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the 3rd seed, and the Philadelphia Eagles went toe-to-toe against the Bucs on Thursday Night Football earlier this season. So maybe they're hoping that they face the Bucs. That would be the best case scenario for the Eagles. So they want to win this game, sure, but it doesn't matter if they lose or not. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire for his 2nd straight week is going to be out for his collarbone or his shoulder area. He's still dealing with that injury. COVID-19. Hey, who's been placed on COVID-19 on the COVID-19 list? You've got Stephon Gilmore being placed on that list. Justin Fields has been placed on that list as well. Deontay Johnson as well. And I think I had another player, if I'm not mistaken. Tyron Smith of the Dallas Cowboys has been placed. He's going to be inactive for this game. And let me see if I have, I think I wrote down. Nope, that's it. Okay, so Stephon Gilmore, Justin Fields, Tyron Smith, and Deontay Johnson are the big names that have been placed on that COVID-19 list. More than likely, they're going to be inactive for this game. Justin Fields, they had intentions of starting him, but it's more than likely going to be either Andy Dalton or Nick Foles. My opinion, just give it to Nick Foles. Just give it to Nick Foles. Deontay Johnson, thankfully, he reached 100 receptions for the season, so that's a good milestone for him before he misses this week's game. But that's going to be a huge blow for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are still in contention of a playoff spot. They need to win, and the Colts need to lose. Stephon Gilmore, big blow, but Panther season is over at this point. And then Tyrod Smith. Okay, I don't get this. The Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, all of them came out and said, we are locked in as a number 4 seed. We cannot move up. We cannot move down. But we're still going to be playing our starters. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Maybe they're going to be playing them for like a half, but I think something's going to creep into Mike McCarthy's mind and say like, I'm going to bench Dak Prescott. I'm going to bench Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to bench these guys because why would I continue to risk the injury and the health of all of these players? So I think they're going to rest their starters eventually. So Tyron Smith doesn't really make that big of a difference for the Dallas Cowboys. Now some practice news as far as who practiced and who did not practice. The players that did not practice, Robbie Anderson is still dealing with a quad injury. He was a non-participant. Chase Edmonds dealing with a rib and toe injury. To couple that, did not practice for a 2nd straight day. James Conner could be returning, could be back to a normal running back 1 role. Ronald Jones, ankle injury. Now, he did not practice the last couple of days. He suffered this injury against the New York Jets. More than likely, he is not going to be playing. Keyshawn Vaughn is in line of getting his first career NFL start because Ronald Jones has been placed in a walking boot, or he's been seen walking around with a walking boot. Michael Carter is dealing with a concussion. Tevin Coleman would be the running back that's coming back after he's activated from the COVID-19 list. He would be the one in line to start. Lamar Jackson, ankle injury, still dealing with that. Still did not practice. Tyler Huntley is in line to start for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then we talked about Miles Sanders being ruled out. He hasn't been practicing. A limited participant in practice, Jamison Crowder has been a limited participant due to a calf injury that he's been dealing with. And then other than that, I mean, not really much major injury news. I mean, you have Jalen Hurts that was limited, but that's just for precautionary measures. He's able to play. Mike Evans as well. He's limited, but he's going to be able to play. Antonio Gibson has been limited. He's going to be able to play. So nothing really major injury-wise to report at this point. Okay, so some insider information that I found out my own self. Hey, I'm not a journalist, but I'm a journalist. So you can only get this information on Time2Football. It's nothing major. But according to a source, myself, I have found out that the NFL will be doing their Super Bowl opening night, not in California, but at the team facilities. So just like last year, the interviews will all be virtual. Reporting per Hassan Khan. This is information that I found out. I actually was in touch with the NFL, and I was asking them about that. I said, "Hey, are the interviews going to be in SoFi Stadium or around SoFi Stadium, or is it going to be just like last year, where the Chiefs and the Bucks joined in during Zoom calls? You can only ask them one question each. What is it?" And they got back to me and said, "Yeah, it's going to be out of the home facilities." They didn't say whether it's going to be virtual or not, but I doubt that media members would fly out to the home facilities when, for instance, if the Super Bowl is held in California and like the Packers make the Super Bowl and they face Tennessee, you're not going to have people flying out to Nashville and not people flying out to Wisconsin and then go back to the Super Bowl. So more than likely, 95% shot it's going to be all virtual interviews for Super Bowl week. That is insider information you cannot get. Hey, the 6 people that are tuning in right now, you heard this information first here on Time to Football. It is going to be virtual interviews. Virtual interviews. I should tweet that out. And get like 2 retweets because it's not that breaking information. But I was proud of myself. That's the first news that I found out myself, and I didn't have to go to another reporter and to figure out their own news. But that is your NFL news and notes for today. All right. Now, let's have a little bit of fun here. Let's talk about Prediction Strike. Guys, fantasy football is over. The season is over. Hopefully you guys can call yourself fantasy football champion. But still, you can play some games out there that involve fantasy football projections, including Prediction Strike, the stock market for fantasy football. And this is how it works. Say, for instance, Ronald Jones is inactive this week. Who would be the next man up? Keyshawn Vaughn, Le'Veon Bell. I think they're going to take off. Hey, before this week, let me go ahead and buy a few shares of Vaughn or Bell and just sit on them. Because if they do well this weekend, I make some cash. If they exceed their fantasy football projection, their stock price goes up, just like the stock market. Now, if they don't do well, their stock price goes down. But this is why I'm here. I'm here to help you guys out. You guys have already signed up for this. If you guys haven't signed up, click the link in the description. Download the Prediction Strike app. Use the promo code T2F, T, the number 2, the letter F, and make a deposit of up to $20, and you get a free share of a player using that promo code. But I'm going to give you 3 players to sell and 3 players to buy in the stock market for fantasy football, whether it be long-term sits and waits. Maybe someone like Javonte Williams is like a long-term investment, but maybe someone like Keyshawn Vaughn for this week is a short-term investment. I'm going to give you those players. First, let's talk about Ray McCloud of the Pittsburgh Steelers. As a matter of fact, all of these players are going to be short-term investments, including Ray McCloud. Deontay Johnson, we just reported earlier in this show that he's going to be inactive in this game because he's on the COVID-19 list. Enter Ray McCloud, who comes in as the wide receiver 2 behind Chase Claypool. He'll serve as the wide receiver 2 with Deontay Johnson inactive. Should succeed against Baltimore's porous, absolutely porous secondary. I mean, everybody's been looking great against the Baltimore Ravens in the passing game. He's up 22%, so people are jumping in on McCloud. He's still 59 cents a share, so I would buy in on McCloud. I actually, as a matter of fact, I think I bought about I want to say like 35, 40 shares of Ray McCloud earlier this morning because he's so cheap, and he could have a very good game against the Baltimore Ravens. So Ray McCloud is buy number 1. Buy number 2, another wide receiver that's going to be stepping in as the wide receiver 2, not just for this week, but for the remainder of the season. That is Cyril Grayson of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. $1.13 a share as of right now, And his stock price has been increasing steadily and steadily and steadily because the last 3 weeks he's exceeded his fantasy football projections. Guys, he is the fill-in for Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown is gone. Chris Godwin is done for the season. He'll fill in as a wide receiver 2 for the remainder of the season. He was targeted 8 times last week, and he could be this year's version of Scotty Miller, but targeted more often. So this is what I mean by that. During the postseason run, Scotty Miller stepped in. He was the wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, if you want to call it, when Godwin, Evans, and Brown were dealing with lingering injury issues, and Scotty Miller was targeted a lot. Grayson, with Chris Godwin now out, Antonio Brown now out, is going to serve as a wide receiver 2. That's why I would buy in on Grayson. The next buy, the last buy of the week, is going to be Keyshawn Vaughn, his teammate. And this is because he gets the same treatment as Ronald Jones. A couple weeks ago, we said Ronald Jones was a must-buy, and his price went up. Whoever serves as the running back 1 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to exceed the projections because if you look at the analysis, he's going to serve as the RB1. Brady dumps off to running backs often. That is huge. He dumps off to Leonard Fournette. He dumps off to Ronald Jones, and now he's going to be dumping off to Keyshawn Vaughn. Bruce Arians has already been impressed with Keyshawn Vaughn the last couple of weeks in practice, during the games, and he's only going for, it's a more expensive price, $4.30 a share. That's kind of pricey, so you may not want to buy in a lot on Keyshawn Vaughn just because, it's going to get pricey. But if he exceeds his fantasy football projection, that stock price that's already too pricey keeps going up. So that's why I would buy in on Keyshawn Vaughn. Now, players to sell, and this is his counterpart. This is Ronald Jones that you need to sell of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I made an oopsie. Not on this channel, but just me personally. I said to buy in on Ronald Jones when he was 60 cents a share. Then he goes off. He goes up to 71 cents a share. And at that point, I was thinking to myself, ooh, his price goes up. I need to sell him. But I was just greedy. I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to hold on to him. And then he ended up getting injured and his price eventually started plummeting. And then eventually I caught on before it started plummeting a lot more and more. I think I sold him at like 50 cents a share. But at this point, he's down to 27 cents a share. It's time to get rid of him. I mean, he's not going to be a starter in the NFL for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he gets healthy. He's in a walking boot, so more than likely he's going to miss at least 2 to 3 games. And by that time, Leonard Fournette is going to be back. He's going to serve as RB1. So Ronald Jones, just completely get rid of him. He's not going to have any value for the remainder of the season. The next player you want to sell, hear me out on this. He's been doing well, but you want to sell Sony Michel. Maybe not all of the stock, and maybe this week he might do well and might be a hold. But in the playoffs, you may want to think about selling Sony Michel. Cam Akers will play this weekend. He's made an incredible recovery from a torn Achilles. Michel to be the lead back, but McVay wants to see Akers as much as possible because he wants to see if he's truly that RB1 from last year, towards the end of last year, or if he still needs some time to recover and still doesn't have his speed back. But according to McVay, Cam Akers is full go, up to speed. And I don't know if he's going to be the RB1. I don't know if it's going to be 50-50. I'm more than likely leaning towards it's going to be 75-25. Sony Michel, Cam Akers gets 25% of the snaps. But still, like, just because of that unpredictability and that I don't know for sure what's going to happen, Sony Michel might be a sell at this point. And the last player you want to sell on the stock market is Ezekiel Elliott. And this comes in after the Dallas Cowboys have locked in the number 4 seed. They have said that they're going to start their starters, but Ezekiel Elliott is someone that's been dealing with injuries all season long. He's dealing with a knee issue, and you know that Mike McCarthy is not afraid to put in Tony Pollard. As a matter of fact, let's look at the analysis. The stats may be great for the season for Ezekiel Elliott, but the eye test tells a different story. The eye test isn't saying that Ezekiel Elliott has been bad, but it's more so saying that Tony Pollard is getting in more and more work and has been looking impressive. Elliott could also rest during this game to prepare for the playoffs. He's going for $5.50 a share, kind of pricey. I'd just go ahead and get rid of him. So those are 3 players to buy and 3 players to sell via the stock market of fantasy football. Again, if you have not signed up, a lot of people have, and it's so much fun. You guys look forward to the segment every Friday. use the promo code T2F, sign up, start playing. Click that link in the description. You do not want to miss out on this opportunity. All right, guys, now we've got PrizePicks. So PrizePicks is just like PredictionStrike, it's dealing with fantasy football. You just pick the overs and unders of fantasy football and stat line projections. And if you're correct, you win money. If you're incorrect, you lose money. That's it. Do you think that, I don't know, Mike Evans is going to get over 13 fantasy points this week? And if he gets 20 fantasy points and you pick the over, hey, you win some money. But if you pick the under on that, you lose money. That's it. It's that simple. A lot of people have won money this week, actually based off of our projections that we gave last week, which we're actually going to show you here right now. Let's actually show you how successful we were last week based off our projections. So if we go over here, we can see that we got 5 out of 6 correct last week. We were very successful, and there actually have been times we've gotten 6 out of 6 correct. So regardless of whatever combination you had in PrizePicks, because if you made a flex play entry, you win money even if you get one incorrect. You don't win as much money, but you still win money. So last week I put in $10 and I won $20. If I got all of these correct, I would have won $100, but still, like, Zach Wilson was the only one that we called incorrectly. Everybody else we hit. So this is why you need to sign up for PrizePicks. This is why we're helping you every single week on Friday, giving you the best analysis and best predictions based off these projections that is on PrizePicks website. So you can click that link in the description to sign up, make a deposit. They match your deposit of up to $100 if you use that promo code T2F. Now, on the show, we're going to give you 3 players that you want to take the under on and 3 players you want to take the over on via their projections on PrizePicks. Let's first start off with players you want to take the under on. And we're going to talk about stat line projections primarily because it's the easiest to project on PrizePicks. The first player you want to take the under on is Dak Prescott. His projection right now is 250 passing yards. And I go back to this concept of Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones want to play the starters. They want to play to win, but it's pointless. It's pointless. You're already locked in as the number 4 seed. So I think at some point, whether it be in the second quarter and the third quarter, it's going to happen to where Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, all these guys are going to get benched, and they may not meet their projection that PrizePicks has. 250 passing yards is his projection. I do think that it's a decent matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. But again, if he doesn't play all 4 quarters, he has a good chance of not meeting that projection. That's why I am 80% confident that he is not going to meet 250 passing yards. The next player we want to talk about is his teammate, Ezekiel Elliott, another one that we feel like is going to get benched somehow, some way in this game. And it's not because of necessarily that he's doing bad, that Tony Pollard is working in. It's more so they want to rest him up, especially with him dealing with a knee issue all season long. Now, I'm only 75% confident compared to Dak Prescott being 80% confident because 44 rushing yards, that's not hard to exceed, especially against the Philadelphia Eagles. But you're going to see Tony Pollard working in and getting in some snaps. You're going to see Corey Clement as well, with the Cowboys electing to bench Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard eventually at one point in this game to rest them for the postseason. So, I mean, I would take the under on Ezekiel Elliott if I had the chance. The last player that I would take the under on via PrizePicks, it's got to be, I kind of hate knocking on this guy all the time, but Trevor Lawrence, it's easy to project him on the under, whether it be fantasy football score or passing yards, because he hasn't been hitting 199 passing yards a lot this season. As a matter of fact, there's been 6 games this season that he's thrown for less than 200 yards. And against the Indianapolis Colts earlier this season, he only threw for 163 passing yards. So there's no James Robinson to relieve the pressure for Trevor Lawrence. Now, I'm only 70% confident because who knows? Like, this is the last game of the season. Trevor may ball out. The Colts, if they're winning big, they may elect to rest their defensive starters. That could give way for Trevor Lawrence to throw some more passing yards. But still, I mean, Lawrence just has not been looking good. in the passing game. So I would take the under on Lawrence. Now, the 3 players that I would take the over on, let's first start off with Derek Carr, another player that you want to take the over on as far as passing yards go. We talked about passing yards a lot, but Derek Carr is someone that I'm confident in that he's going to get over 240.5 passing yards. And this is why. Justin Herbert and Derek Carr are 3rd and 4th, respectively, in the NFL in passing yards. They are passing the ball a lot. So I do think this is going to be a toe-to-toe quarterback versus quarterback battle. He did throw for 196 passing yards against the Chargers earlier this season, but that was in week 4. Maybe there were a lot of things going on. Also, Darren Waller has been limited in practice, so if they're able to get him back early, this could be a very good sign for Derek Carr to get over 240 passing yards. The next player that we want to take the over on via PrizePicks, it's going to have to be Julio Jones. And this is because, not because Julio Jones has been looking great this season by any means, but look at the freaking projection on PrizePicks, 28.5 receiving yards. That is very low for a superstar wide receiver. Even though he's averaging less than 50 yards per game in the games that he's played, he's gotten over 200 or 28 receiving yards in every game that he's played except for 2. And those 2 games that he didn't get 28 receiving yards, 1, he suffered a hamstring injury early and was taken out of the game and was rested early. 2 was the following week. After he had a hamstring injury, they made him active for that game. It was a short week against the San Francisco 49ers on Thursday Night Football. They made him active, but they made him limited in that game. That is why he didn't reach 28 receiving yards. In every other game, he did. That's why I would take the over on Julio Jones. And the last player you want to take the over on via PrizePicks and their projection, it's got to be Davis Mills. Davis Mills, his last 4 starts, has not been looking bad at all. He's earned the right to compete for the starting job in 2022. So the Houston Texans are going to keep him around. And the projection, you can make projections on completions as well. Do you think that he's going to get over 20 completions? Well, if we look at his stats, 3 of his last 4 games, he's gotten over 20 completions. And the one game that he didn't get 20 completions, he threw for 19 completions. He's completed 66.5% of his passes this whole season. And then in the last 4 weeks, in specific, he's gotten 68.1% of his passes completed. I'm only 70% confident because it's the Texans. That the offense is not the best, but still, I would buy in on Davis Mills completing 20 times in this game. So those are 3 players to buy and 3 players to sell. Or I'm sorry, 3 players to take the under on and 3 players to take the over on via PrizePicks and their fantasy football projection. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to PrizePicks website because we don't just talk a big game about it. We actually put in our own money. We did this last week, and we actually won money live on air. You can go back and watch last week's video if you wanted to see that. But I'm going to go ahead and pull up PrizePicks on my computer and then show you guys myself making these projections. So let's start off with, we can make 5 in one entry. And if we put in $10, which we do every week, we have a chance to win $100. We 10 times our money. Now, if we only get 4 out of 5 correct, you still double your money. And that's what we did last week. Last week, we only got 4 out of 5 correct in that entry that we placed, and we won $20. So this week, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick 5 of the 6 that I talked about because we can only have 5 maximum. But you can make any combination. You can make 3 of the players I'm talking about, 4 of the players, 5 of the players, 2 of the players even if you wanted. But let's go ahead and choose the players that I was most confident in. That is Dak Prescott is one of them. Derek Carr, I'm pretty confident in as well. And I would say the least confident out of the 6 that I talked about is Trevor Lawrence. So I'm not going to pick him. I'm going to stray away from him. I just do think that 199 passing yards, it's kind of easier to get to. So I'm going to stray away from that. But if you were in that position to pick another under, Trevor Lawrence is an option. I just wanted to give you guys that option. Ezekiel Elliott, I'm taking the under on his rushing yards. So we've got Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, Ezekiel Elliott. We've got 2 more. Let me choose Julio Jones because that receiving yards projection, that's probably the most confident that I'm in. So wherever Julio is, right over here. And the projection, by the way, went down to 26.5 from 28.5. Guys, jump up on this opportunity while we have the chance before the projection keeps on going up and up and up. I'm going to take the over on Julio Jones. I am very confident in that. And then Davis Mills was the last one. Pass completions over here. We'll pick him. So, over here on the side, Prescott under, Carr over, Elliott under, Jones over, and Davis Mills over. And again, we can put in as much money as we want. Let me put in $10 for a chance to win 100. That's it. And if I lose $10, hey, for me to lose $10, I'd have to get 3 of these wrong. 3 out of 5, I lose money. I lose all $10. So the odds are in my favor. I'm going to put in $10 for a chance to win 100. Entry place. That's simple. So again, click that link in the description. PrizePicks. Sign up, start playing. Use the promo code T2F. They match your deposit of up to $100. All right, now we're going to interact with the chat here. Golly, dude, it is winter. Freaking talking for 35 minutes, 38 minutes, whatever I've been talking for. Get your lips dry. Not as dry as Antonio Brown's lips in that hotel. Or that OnlyFans girl. Which set of lips am I talking about? Ooh, okay. We're getting a little R-rated on the show. So let me go ahead and just switch gears and talk about the live chat. All right. What do we got? John Landry talking about Derrick Henry. I think the Titans are going to start him during the playoffs. Yeah, I think they're going to rest for this week, but next week, yeah, for sure. Cole also asking, who are the top free agents coming into the offseason? Actually, Sean and I, who's come on the show before, we've actually talked about this. We texted about this. If you want to talk about quarterbacks, there's a lot of veterans out there that Ryan Fitzpatrick, sure. Baker Mayfield, the Browns could elect to do, I don't know what they want to do with him, but there's a shot that Baker Mayfield could be a free agent for the quarterback position. Now, if you want to talk about running backs, I honestly think the best free agent running back available is going to be Rashad Penny. Just the way that he's been playing the last 4 games, just the way that the market is. I know that Cordero Patterson is a free agent. I know that Leonard Fournette is a free agent, but those guys are going to be 30 years old and 28 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Rashad Penny is going to be 26 by the time free agency comes. I think he's going to be one of the hot free agent ads that any team would be lucky to have. At wide receiver, Mike Williams, I think the Chargers might re-sign Mike Williams. If not, he's a free agent. And then Chris Godwin as well. It sucks that he suffered that torn ACL because a team's going to have to sign him for less money and be like, hey, you're more than likely is not going to play the beginning half of the season. But Chris Godwin is a player that is one of the top free agents available. I think the Steelers have already locked up T.J. Watt. Otherwise, he would have been a free agent. But yeah, those are some of the best offensive free agents. Mike Gesicki as well. I think the Dolphins are going to sign him to a huge contract extension, like probably being one of the more higher paid tight ends in the NFL. But if they don't for some dumb reason, then Mike Gesicki would be a free agent. Talking about the breaking news. That's awesome, man. Eat your heart out, ESPN and NFL Network with that breaking news. Yeah, oh yeah, you can't hear that anywhere else. Super Bowl interviews are going to be all virtual. No one else reported it but me. I found it out. I figured it out. Me. It was me. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. WWF, Attitude Era. Vince McMahon. Rams versus 49ers. Who you got? Hello, man. I'm going to go with the Rams. I think I picked the Rams on my weekly picks. I do think it's going to be a close game, and I do think the Saints do sneak into the playoffs, unfortunately. I know that the Niners fans are rooting for my Falcons this weekend, but I I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, not looking good, man. Not looking good for the San Francisco 49ers. And it's just a matter of how the schedule played out, Hopefully for the Niners fans, hopefully I'm wrong. But I don't have faith in my Falcons to win and beat the Saints. So it's up to you guys to beat the Rams. Roger saying Julio is at 26.5 yards now. Yeah. What the heck? Would you take CeeDee Lamb under 65.5 receiving yards? I actually considered it. I have like a list of maybe 10 options, and then I narrow it down to a list of 6 for this video. Yes. Now, as far as my confidence goes, I would say I'm only like 70% confident in that, because maybe Mike McCarthy and maybe Jerry Jones are telling the truth about we're going to play our starters. But I don't. Why? There have only been like a few instances in the last decade, last 20 years, that a team that's locked in their seed, cannot move up, cannot move down, has played their starters. Number 1, the New England Patriots, because they wanted to go for that undefeated season. And number 2, the New York Giants, that played the New England Patriots the last game of the regular season in that undefeated year, because they wanted to beat the New England Patriots and end their undefeated streak. There's reasons like that. Other than that, there's not a logical reason to play your starters. You can see them benched. So if you want to take the under on CeeDee Lamb, I'd say go for it. I wouldn't put in a lot of money compared to the other players that I talked about, but he would be an option. He definitely would be an option. And Sean giving his opinion on whether the Rams or the 49ers would win, assuming that we beat Atlanta. Yeah. Because he's a Saints fan, so he's going for the Saints. Other people are going for the 49ers as the big hot games to look forward to in the NFC, which we'll get an answer by Sunday afternoon on whether the 49ers or the Saints clinch that last playoff spot. The AFC is a little bit more wild, and I'm looking forward to that Sunday night football game between the Chargers and the Raiders on who's going to win between that. This is a random, by the way. If you guys missed yesterday's show, I talked about the how the Washington Admirals might be the team name for the Washington football team, because the website WashingtonAdmirals.com redirected to the Washington football team website. So, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. If you guys missed yesterday's show, I just want to go ahead and say, the name Admirals is growing on me. I'm becoming more and more aware, like, okay, that could be a possibility. And I'm okay with it. The one I'm not okay with is Armada. Yeah, that's the stupidest name that I've ever heard. Hey, all NFL teams end in the letter S, like their team name. Steelers, Packers, Jets, Ravens, Armadas. Does not sound good. Hey, Washington football team. If you're considering naming Washington the Washington Armada, don't. Hey, Washington, if your new name is going to be Armada, don't. Change your mind. Dan Snyder, the day before, 2/1/22. Mr. Snyder, I'm with the PR department. I am so excited to announce that tomorrow's name is going to be the Washington Armada. Yeah, I changed my mind. But, sir, we have already bought trademarks and logos and merchandise and started creating everything. No, we're not doing it. Because it's stupid. Hey, Washington, if you're going to name your team the Armada, don't. That's simple. Commanders is cool. Defenders is cool. Admirals is cool. Armada's not. Just don't. How long do you think do the Saints have Michael Thomas? I can look up. Maybe Sean has an answer for that. I think he comes back, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded. It hasn't been the same since the injury. Hassan and I have been back and forth, and whether we, the Saints, draft a wide receiver. Yeah, I don't think Michael Thomas's tenure, my personal opinion, in New Orleans is going to be very long. If you want to talk about his specific contract, I think he signed a big contract not too long ago. But if we look at SpotTrack.com, which is one of the best contract websites out there, he's in contract up until 2024. So, yeah. James Ackery asking, do you think AB had a mastermind plan to sneak Ava into the Bucks hotel so he can catch COVID just to quit on the Bucks the very next day and just make everybody on the Bucks catch COVID? Wow, dude, that is there's okay. I would say this probably ranks in top 6 greatest conspiracy theories of all time. I know there's some people out there that say like 9/11 and other conspiracy theories like COVID. COVID's a conspiracy. Is COVID a conspiracy? Was it made in a lab in Wuhan? You know, there's conspiracy theories out there, right? I would say this probably ranks in at like 6 or 7 best conspiracy theory that I've ever heard in my life. You know, like the Bucks, catching COVID. I think they absolutely 100% licked toilet seats. Housekeeping. Oh, no, we're good. No, we're good. We don't need housekeeping. Business booming. Oh, sir, we didn't have time to prepare this room for you and your guest here. No, we're good. We're good. No housekeeping. We like it dirty. Don't clean the toilets. Yeah, I could see that happening. Licking the toilet seat and catching COVID and giving everybody on the Bucks COVID because he's upset about that. Dude, James, I love that, man. I love that. I love that conspiracy theory a lot. James Stark saying, I personally like the Redskins. I didn't mean to say that. Don't cancel my Redskins. Oh, that's a swear word in the NFL community. Who are QBs that are playing on the last year of their current deal? Let's actually look this up, man. Let's actually look this up. Why not? I'll just be hanging out with you guys for a little bit because you guys are interacting with us in the chat. Free agent quarterbacks, 2022. Let's look up an official list right here. So here are the free agents. And I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to my computer so you guys can go ahead and follow along. Dude, freaking ads are the... Yes! Yes! I love ads. So, yes! Ben Roethlisberger, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Andy Dalton. Let me go ahead and make this bigger for you guys so you guys can see. Nick Foles, Cam Newton, Tyrod Taylor, Jameis Winston, Jacoby Brissett, Teddy Bridgewater, Mariota. Yes! Canva. Yes! Mitchell Trubisky. Okay. I mean, he's young enough to where he could be like a decent. Brandon Allen to see if he has an audition this weekend. Let's see if he does well for the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, there's not really big names out there. Trevor Siemian, Dwayne Haskins. Okay, question mark. Could be interesting, but not really any big names out there that you want to pursue. Except that the Browns, again, Baker Mayfield, they haven't made like a 100% decision on him, so he could be released. Could be traded. You never know. I'm ready. I'm getting ready to go snowmobiling. Yes, dude. Do it. Yeah, these ads I am convinced to sign up for Capital One now. Talking about Michael Thomas, maybe the Steelers pick him up. That'd be cool. Yeah. If we get Russell Wilson, talk about the Saints, and if we re-sign Jameis, then he may be on the way out because of injuries and his contract. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the future holds for Michael Thomas, to be honest with you, but hopefully he can go back to his production that he had with the Saints just a couple years ago before he started dealing with all of those injuries. But let's go ahead and sign off for this episode of Time2Football. I've been talking about football here for a little bit longer than I should have, but I'm very appreciative of you guys joining us for this episode of Time2Football. Again, leave your thoughts in your comments down below. You can keep on interacting with us. Kirk Cousins going to the Browns is an option. If Baker isn't in Cleveland, that could be an option. Kirk Cousins very underrated, by the way, for the Minnesota Vikings. With all that said, Armada sucks, and yes!